Randy Johnson is best known as a Baseball Hall of Famer who won a World Series championship with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but he's also a longtime photographer, and some of his photos will be on display at the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts during, appropriately enough, spring training. We welcome Randy Johnson to Arizona Horizon. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You betcha. Thanks for showing. What got you started with photography?
I can't really pinpoint the moment or the event, but when I was younger, had one of those small little cameras with the little cube flash on it, and after you were done using the camera, you had to bring it down to Thrifty's, and you got it developed, and then it just kind of evolved from there. More family events, and then high school. Obviously, there were some classes that were being given there, so I learned a little bit more there. And then college.
When did you realize, though, that you were more than just a guy taking pictures? You were pretty good at this.
Well, I think it was probably in college, after I had learned a little bit more about film cameras and developing film, and I actually got an opportunity to photograph for the college newspaper, the Daily Trojan there. And so I had timelines and things like that and assignments, and enjoyed that. And then obviously after I left USC in '85, then I pursued my baseball career.
Indeed. Is there a challenge with photography that attracts you?
Well, I'm assuming there is. And I'm assuming I've run into them, opportunities that maybe you've missed because you were talking to someone or you blinked your eye or something. But for the most part, the parallels that I see to pitching that I had in photography is having tunnel focus and being prepared and knowing what to expect and being prepared to capture that moment. And the biggest thing is, just like my pitching back in the day, I knew my opponents. I knew their strengths and weaknesses based on video that I watched and stats that I looked at. And it's no different than when I go to Africa. I know where I'm going, I know what to expect, and I'm hoping that things present themselves, but you're dealing with animals as well.
Right, and we're going to take a look at some of these photos here in a second, but what makes a good photograph?
I think opportunity that presents itself. I think the one thing that I can say emphatically that's true is that I couldn't fool anybody at the ballpark telling them that I pitched a good game when I didn't. But photography is all subjective. Whether you like it or not is really up to you. But everybody knew in my day job when I pitched well and when I didn't. So the things that I take pictures of that I like, I just share them with somebody else, and hopefully they like them. If they don't, it's okay. It's subjective. But so far with this exhibit that I've been having, this is the second one here in Arizona now. The first one here, but the first one that I had was in Cooperstown, New York, home of the Baseball Hall of Fame. A lot of people, a lot of feedback, they had never been to Africa, and based on looking at the pictures, they wanted to maybe go to Africa and have the same experience. So that's what it's about.
Right. Let's look at some of these pictures. The first one is from Ethiopia, and I want you to tell us about this photograph because again, the composition, black and white photograph. It seems like you like black and white photography.
I think for portrait photography, I think it's timeless, and this was a tribe in Ethiopia called the Karo tribe, and this was taken several years ago. I recently just was in Ethiopia again back in last August and had the opportunity to see a different tribe, and the opportunities that presented themselves were much greater than the first time I had been there. Reason being is because I had an Ethiopian guide, and he was also a photographer. And so he knows what to take pictures of. And when he asked me what I wanted to take pictures of, I said, well, what you're taking pictures of. And so he can communicate without a problem. I didn't feel rushed. I felt like I was rushed a little bit the first time I was there. And my recent trip there, I just felt like I could do whatever I wanted to do, and the opportunities presented themselves one after another.
Kind of like you had a scouting report the second time.
Exactly.
Next photograph is of a lion in black and white, except for one exception. Look at those eyes. What's that all about?
Yeah, I just think I had seen, not necessarily with an animal, but I saw someone had turned something into black and white, and then they color. It might have been a person or something like that. I just thought, I love black and white. I just think it makes the picture timeless. And obviously when you take something, you can kind of determine whether it looks good color or black and white.
Right.
But I just thought this is going to be at an exhibit and looking at the picture, I'm just waiting for the head to turn and the eyes lock on me, and I think that's really sometimes what I'm trying to capture is bring home something that someone else can see and enjoy as much as I do.
Well, there's another photograph. This one is of an elephant, and I love the composition.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. This is the second. This is the funnier one. This is the one with the bird on top of the elephant.
Sure.
What? Did you have to wait for that bird, or was that bird up there the whole time?
The bird was going for the ride the whole time along. But this was in Kenya, in Amboseli National Park, and the story there is, some of the biggest elephants, they call them super tuskers, and they're almost prehistoric looking. Some of the elephants' tusks actually are so long they reach the ground. This wasn't in particular, but that's the thing when you're a photographer, you're trying to seek out those elephants.
Yes.
Because they're hiding all the time. But this opportunity presented itself. It was a kind of a gray, rainy day, and I was able to get out of my car because I wasn't in the national park, and I was at my own discretion, obviously. I was probably maybe around 15, 20 feet, and I just thought it was kind of a cool picture. It's almost like a portrait, if you will.
It is.
Where it's a profile picture, and I turned it in black and white because I thought that it enhanced the clouds and all that, and then the biggest thing that I really wanted to make sure was evident was the bird on top of its head.
Oh, you got the bird. Last one, I think we have this one of this. Is that the same elephant?
No, it was different.
Yeah, I love the composition.
And you can tell by looking at the last picture. You could tell by looking at the tusks.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
But
Yep.
but this picture, he was literally like 10 feet away from me, and I knew based on my experiences with elephants and my guide that he was letting me know that don't get any closer, and that's why his ears were out. And sometimes they'll start flapping their ears, and that's just to let you know, back up and go away.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we were probably getting to that point, and I wasn't going to let him get to that point because I probably wouldn't be able to outrun him.
No kidding. We've only got like a minute and a half or so here left. Do you ever think, maybe you do you shoot sports photography, or is this more what you're interested in?
Yeah, I think this is much more relaxing, and I can. It's just a different genre of what I can share with people. There's enough sports photographers. I'm sure there's enough National Geographic photographers. I'm not one, but that's what kind of draws me into that. I started off shooting rock concerts back in college.
Yes.
I still do that, and I enjoy traveling and taking scenic pictures, landscape pictures. But Africa, for whatever reason, it's not just about animals, going to Ethiopia, going up in the mountains in Rwanda and the silverback gorillas.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on the exhibit and all the photography. And it's great to have you here. And it's good to see the enthusiasm for
Yes,
the arts.
absolutely.
That's fantastic. Good to have you here.
Thank you.